Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of The Drop. Greg Wyshynski, Arda Ocal. We have a lot to get to, including our year-end awards for the calendar year 2022. You might be wondering, why are you dressed up so snazzy? Greg Wyshynski, why are you wearing a tie? Why are you...
We talked about it being the awards. I thought we were going to dress like we were on the awards, like we're on the Oscars or something. You decided to slap on your Michael Jackson circa Beat It jacket, and I'm wearing a tux. So I'm not quite sure what the miscommunication was here.
I think I look great. Thank you very much. There's a special reason why we decided to dress up, and that's because a landmark occasion has happened in the National Hockey League. For only the third time in history, a player has reached 800 career goals. What once seemed impossible now seems entirely probable. Alexander Ovechkin scored a hat trick against the Chicago Blackhawks on Tuesday night, bringing him to 800 career goals. Only Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky have also done that. Of course, now the climb begins. Gordie at 801 and Wayne at 894. What does the number 800 in terms of goals in the NHL mean to you, Wish?
Well, the thing that really stands out to me about Ovechkin is that those 800 goals plus any goals he scores after this will have been scored with the same franchise. And I spoke to Washington Capitals owner Ted Leonsis at the NHL Board of Governors meeting in Palm Beach this week. We'll talk about that meeting a little bit later on. And he indicated to me that while Ovechkin breaking the Gretzky record is going to be a monumental moment for the National Hockey League and hockey history as a whole, the record that means the most to Ted is that Ovechkin will have finished his career, whenever it does finish, with the most goals scored with one franchise. He believes that record might be the more unbreakable record of the two, because you think about where we are in 2022, man, salary cap, teams that rebuild. If I had told you 7 years ago that Taves and Kane wouldn't be finishing their careers as Blackhawks, you would have said that's insane, but yet it happens. But it hasn't happened with Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, and that is an amazing achievement.
And obviously, you know, an owner being very happy that his star player decides to stick with him in his franchise for a career, naturally. But it is very impressive. And it also goes to show you how many records Ovechkin is actually breaking along the way to breaking the record that everyone is talking about. While he climbs to 894, you mentioned it, most goals for one franchise. How about most power play goals? How about most goals on the road? In fact, during the hat trick that he scored against the Blackhawks, he actually surpassed Gordie Howe for second most combined goals in the regular season and playoffs. Wow. Gretzky also has that record. I love the random stats. This is a fun one, Wish. He also surpassed Jaromir Jagr for most game opening goals with 136. It's very random, stat. But I love it.
I love that stat. It used to be back before every game had a 2-0 lead that wasn't safe, that a first goal in the NHL would mean everything. But the real thing we're looking at here as far as records are is obviously the Wayne Gretzky chase, the great chase, trademark Alex Ovechkin, that is going to be ongoing for the next few seasons. Can he catch Gretzky? Well, based on Alex Ovechkin's career goals per game average of 0.613, he would tie Gretzky in 154 games. That means sometime early in the 2024-25 season. Not sure how many Avatar sequels we'll have by then, but I imagine it'll be a few. Assuming he doesn't miss significant time, which of course the Russian machine thankfully does not break and keeps up with that goals pace. So early 24-25 is where we'd be looking for him to finally catch and potentially pass Wayne Gretzky.
I just want, let's contextualize this, Wish. I mean, we've loved hockey all our lives. You've been covering hockey for a very long time. You also remember a time where it was ludicrous to even talk about this particular record being broken or even being in the vicinity of being broken. I mean, the fact that we're at this point, that Ovechkin has scored 800 goals, the career, the way that it's gone at 37 years of age, the way that he's continuing to produce, this is really a once in a lifetime thing that we're experiencing.
It truly is. Before I became a hockey writer with the worldwide leader in sports, I was a young reporter in the Washington, D.C. area for a weekly newspaper, and I covered the Capitals during Ovechkin's early years. And to think back at him as that rock star young player scoring, 60 goals in a season, energizing that franchise, rebuilding a franchise on his back, and creating a fan base out of nothing in Washington, D.C., it's still remarkable to think that that guy is now on the precipice of breaking Wayne Gretzky's record. But, we often talk about, is Ovechkin already the greatest goal scorer in NHL history? And I think he is, man. Like, to do what he's done in this era, with the goalies being as good as they are, with the defensemen being as good as they are, with the defenses being as good as they are systematically, with the amount of teams, the amount of talent, all of those factors that Wayne Gretzky didn't have to deal with. Break the record, don't break the record, I don't care. For my money, Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in hockey history.
And by the way, many times people know what's going to happen. He's going to shoot from the left circle and it's going to go in. In the last 6 years, nobody has scored more from the left circle than Alex Ovechkin. Here's a question for you, Wish.
Yeah.
How high can he go? And I asked this question on the broadcast to Ryan Callahan and to PK Subban. Callie says 900. PK actually says 1,000. How far do you think Ovi can go, in your opinion?
I don't think he quite gets to 1,000. I think 900 is probably in reach. The end of Ovechkin's career is going to be very interesting. Obviously, after this contract with the Capitals, there's a lot of speculation that maybe he finishes out his final years in the KHL, playing back in the motherland. But for me, the interesting thing about Ovechkin is that he's told the Capitals that he doesn't want to break this Wayne Gretzky record as a third liner, as a guy just popping in goals in the power play. He wants to be a relevant, contributing player on the top line for this team when he breaks this record. And I think that's admirable, man. It's one of the reasons Gretzky respects the record chase right now, is because Ovi wants to earn it the right way. He's not one of these guys playing well past his prime, scratching and clawing and trying to get to immortality. He wants to be a relevant player on a competitive team when he breaks this record.
And I love that Gretzky's already said, listen, when he gets close to the record, I'm going to follow him around.
Yeah,
I love that that's already set in stone. Couple things on this before we move on. The actual game itself. I know that there's been a lot of conversation about empty net goals. That's become a big topic leading up to this game, because Ovi had 4 straight empty net goals, his last 4 goals. That's actually tying an NHL record as well. I love that he scored 2 quick goals in the first period, like just to shut that down completely. Like, enough of this. I'm scoring whether you like it or not. Stop with the empty net goal talk, people. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Right. Oh, empty net goal. Here's a hat trick. Here's what I can do. I love it. The empty net goal thing is interesting because back in the early days of the internet, when I was a blogger on Puck Daddy, the great Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby wars would rage, and you'd have to pick one side. Yeah. You're either on the Mick Jagger, Alex Ovechkin side, or on the John Lennon, Sidney Crosby side, whether rock star or the milquetoast Canadian superstar, one of the two. And the Ovechkin critics would always talk about those empty net goals as being kind of counterfeit. And my counter argument to that would be, he's on the ice for a reason. If he was a liability, he wouldn't be on the ice in that moment. He's on the ice to end the game. It's a tactical decision by his coaches to have him on the ice when the opposing net is empty, because they know he has a better than good chance of putting the puck in that net and ending the game. It's a skill. It's part of his skill set. It's part of his talent set. It's a remarkable thing, and he's second only to Wayne Gretzky in career empty net goals.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that. Wayne Gretzky has 56 empty net goals.
Yeah.
And Ovi has 53. So I agree with you. It doesn't matter. Last thing I want to mention on this, I thought it was very classy of Patrick Kane and Max Domi and Jonathan Taves to go and shake his hand on the ice after the game. I love that kind of stuff. Love that camaraderie. Obviously, the handshake line is one of my favorite thing in sports. But I think that's going to happen a lot. And certainly around the milestones like 801, 802, whenever he does get those goals, I'm sure that the opposing team, there'll be a few handshakes on the ice there too. But I feel like this is just going to be a continuous celebration up until we get to that Wayne Gretzky plateau.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most popular players of the last 30 years in the NHL. On the ice, off the ice, it's kind of changed a little bit. His support of Vladimir Putin obviously has gained him a number of critics in the last couple of years, and rightfully so. Check his Instagram avatar in case you're wondering what I mean by that. But the thing about him, and Leonce has pointed this out too, is he's the all-time leading scorer as far as road goals. There's a reason for that. It's that no matter how people feel about the Washington Capitals, there's a lot of love for Ovechkin, no matter where he goes. It's almost like a home game for him, outside of maybe trips to Pittsburgh. And that support, according to Leonce, is one of the reasons why he was able to set that record too.
So congratulations, Alex Ovechkin, third player in history to reach 800 goals. Of course, the next 2 goals will be milestones as well, tying Gordie Howe at 801 and then surpassing him at 802.